Hey there, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, and I'm here to tell you, no matter how fit you are, if you make these three bad decisions in your next Ironman, you're going to have a terrible race. Racing in the heat is so much more than just about fitness. Inside Endurance Nation, we talk about our 4 keys of race execution created in the late 2000s to make sure that people were ready to put together a race that mapped the hard work that they put into their training. And the key challenge for most athletes, just like you, is that the work that you're doing to get ready for the race isn't the work you need to do when you're in the race. How do we separate these two elements? How do we focus on race execution? Exactly what we do here inside Endurance Nation. So it sets us apart from the competition to make sure that you have a fantastic race. And the harder the conditions get, in this case, we're indexing high on the heat section. The harder and hotter that race gets, the more important that critical decisions come into play for you. Recently did a seminar on this for the team. And if you sign up for any one of our courses or our newsletter at endurancestation.us, we'll send you the recording. Just ask me a note, write me back, let me know what you want. But in the meantime, I want to talk a little bit about these 3 key decisions and how you get through it. Because if you don't follow these 3 key decisions, you're going to put yourself in a world of hurt. And race day is hard enough as it is. Why would you make it harder, right? When's the last time in your life you said, I'm going to do my lawn, but I'm going to make it harder. I'm going to do it blindfolded, or I'm going to drive across country. I'm going to go visit my best friend, do this whole cross country trip, but I'm going to do it like with one arm and one leg only, right? Why would you make things harder? Really unclear, right? Doesn't make sense, but yet we do it to ourselves on race day. So let's break that script for you starting this year. Still time for this year with the race you have coming up to make sure that your next hot race is hot because you're fast and not hot because you made bad decisions. All right, let's do it. So I'm going to break it down by discipline for you so you have a chance to understand how to approach each leg. You may not be able to do it for all of them, but if you did for one of the 3 or 2 of the 3, you're winning, right? Okay, so number 1. The key here for the swim is mastering your distribution of effort. Your job is to do the least amount of work to get the maximum amount of speed. There's many different ways to do that. So step 1 would be to just kind of observe the course and make sure that you're distributing your effort relative to where things are easier or harder. If you're doing a downstream swim or a swim with a current, then making sure that you position yourself in maximum current at the right time. So you can reduce your effort in that opportunity, right? Second level would say, be in terms of like positioning. So can you swim with others? Are you comfortable drafting? Can you swim not just behind someone and touching their feet, but actually, right next to someone just off of their hip? So you're kind of getting that wake that comes out from them. You have a benefit, but you're, turning away from their body when they're kicking and their hands, and you're still remaining inside that draft, right? How sneaky can we be on the day, right? And then finally, can you choose the most optimal path? And here's the key part for you. A lot of folks actually think the optimal path is the straight line between point A and point B. But actually in the swim, that's not true. The optimal path is swimming behind someone else. It's 10 times better than just going on a straight line. So even if your pack or your group is kind of going a little wide or seem to be doing something a little different and you can see a different line, stay with the group. We want to stay with the group when you're swimming because it's going to reduce your overall effort. Whether you're 2 minutes faster or 2 or 3 minutes slower, if you've reduced your effort, you've already positioned yourself better for the swim. Okay, outstanding. After a completely amazing, scientifically executed T1, you're on the bike, and it's time to think about how do we handle the heat on the bike, right? And it's going to be hot over the course of the day. You've looked at the weather, you've looked at the wind, you've looked at key sections of the course. You're kind of freaking out, and you should be because you've been focused on this race and you want to have a great one. So the key here, though, is you are going to overlook, and you will not, because you're hearing this for right now for the first time, or maybe a reminder, you're not going to forget that first hour. The key to a successful Ironman bike starts in that first hour. So right away, you come out of T1, your heart rate's going to be the highest it's ever been. Your job in this first hour is twofold. 1, to get your heart rate down as low as you can, as fast as you can. This means sort of soft pedaling out of transition, getting yourself oriented, heads up, looking out for the other riders who are also doing other crazy things with their computers and food and shoes and everything else. So stay safe here. Super dangerous place. And then number 2 is actually starting that hydration and fueling plan right away. Your job in that first hour in a hot day is to crush the fluids in the hydration, because essentially you'll have lost fluids in the swim. You'll have lost it pre-race because you've been sort of, maybe peeing, a little nervous, etc. Your body sort of starts to clear. And as a result, when you start the bike, you are down fluids massively. So we have to not only get you back up to level, but we've actually got to start ingesting fluids for what's going to come later on. So if you're a 2 bottle an hour kind of person, and a hot race day, you might get 2.5 or 3 bottles. You might try and drink a bottle every 20 minutes, which quite frankly is a job, my friends. Like, it's a job to drink that much in that first hour to get back on track. But if you don't do it in that first hour, you can't drink enough over time to catch up. Your core body temperature will continue to rise. You'll be drinking less and less over time simply because that's what we do as we get locked into the race. We get more fatigued. We make less good decisions. So while you have the power and the control, we use it in this first hour to get your heart rate down. So we peg the heart rate as low as possible. It's going to build all day from that low point. Don't keep it high out of T1. And then number two, we're going to go ahead and dial in right to that hydration and fueling plan to get that on lock. So we're all set. All right, great. So you do the bike, you come through. Oh, let me give you a bonus point, actually. Bonus point section. Really make sure that you're not pushing your effort at the end of the bike. So do your math. Usually it's the last 25% of a hot day. That's the hottest of part of the day is going to be the end of the bike, start of the run for you. And if you're pushing the end of that bike, you're really going to be pushing your heart rate into levels that are almost borderline unsustainable or close to what you would be doing on the run. You're kind of taking away some of that run mojo and putting it on the bike. Generally speaking, it's not worth it. So in the last 25%, staying cagey, getting water on yourself, pacing yourself, stretching, etc., preparing yourself what the run will be is much more important for you than pushing through those numbers. All right, end of the bonus section for you. Had to do it. Okay, so T2, you go through it like a hot knife through butter, no pun intended, and you're out on the run. And here we go. You're ready to run. Finally, all day you've been waiting for this moment. It's time to sort of uncork and unleash this run, right? Wrong, my friends. Couldn't be more wrong. Okay, so running in the heat is crazy because there's two things that happen to you when you come off the bike. One is your body kind of settles into the actual manifested heat of the day. On the bike, you've had wind on you because you've been pedaling, etc. You come back into T2 and you're like, wait a minute, it's really this hot? Like, whoa. And your body starts to absorb that heat. Those of you who've been in a bad position here know kind of that sort of tingly feeling that you get across your skin of like danger, like your spidey sense. And that's because the heat is here. And the biggest mistake you can make is running out at your goal race pace from transition right into that wall of heat that you've just immersed yourself into, right? So instead of doing that, instead of putting yourself in a position where you're instantly moving back 4 or 5 steps on the board or stepping on top of a ladder and chutes and ladders and going all the way back to the beginning and starting all over again, do not pass go, do not collect $200 or even one energy gel. Here's how we do it. When we come out of transition, our job is to actually run at the heart rate that we finished the bike at. So if you finish the bike at 145 or 142 or 159 or whatever your normal zone 2 is, and it's different for everybody, you want to run out of transition at that heart rate while you focus on your hydration and fueling plan again. Odds are at the end of the bike, you've not been really hydrating or fueling. You're tired of your bike fluid and fuel. It's warm, etc. Now you're on the run. New aid stations, opportunities for ice, fluids, etc. This is your chance to make up for anything you've lost at the end of that bike and also to prepare yourself later. We're going to be running a little bit easier now so you can actually ingest more. Take advantage of this opportunity to do just that. Make sure that you are ingesting and keeping your core body temperature down. The lower we can keep our heart rate in these first 6 miles or so of a 26-mile race, the better you'll be able to run over the course of the day. The reason why that pays off is that success in Ironman and success in any endurance race is that he or she who slows down the least is actually the fastest on the day. Everyone's going to be slowing down. If you run too fast at the beginning in a hot day, you're going to put yourself in the hurt locker. You'd actually be surprised how fast you can actually run when you're pacing and hydrating properly. You'll get more out of it. So it's not that we're putting you in a box or putting blocks on your feet. You can't run and you're in jail, etc. That's what people mentally believe this to be. But the reality is that going out and running fast is actually the equivalent of like driving a car at 100 miles an hour, right? Yes. Can it get you to your destination faster? Yes. What are the odds of you getting into an accident? They're exponential, right? And it's, why would you do that to yourself? I'd much rather have you be deliberate and smart early, and then we can build our effort over the course of the day. You're going to need to dig deep into your wells of inspiration and focus and commitment to your craft. And that all comes at the end, not at the beginning. Anybody can dig deep at the beginning, and they're all running fast around you. Let them do the damage to themselves. Your bet is on the long-term game, following the 4 keys of race execution. All right. I hope this is helpful for you, and I hope these 3 points make sense. Just so you understand, when we think about pacing the swim, the bike, and the run deliberately, it's minimal effort on the swim, first hour on the bike, and first hour on the run are the most important parts of your hot day. And I've given you homework for each of those. Go back, listen to it again, share it with your friends if you think they need to benefit, or if they've blown up on a hot race day and you know that they're not fueling properly or they're not pacing properly. Maybe this episode, this information will give them some details. Otherwise, send them to enduranceStation.us where they can sign up for any one of our free courses, sign up up for our newsletter where we give tips like this every single Friday, an opportunity for you to learn and up your game. Race day is all about execution, not fitness. We're focused on race execution. We're here to prepare you to be your best, whether it's building a full season and helping you train towards it, or simply helping you with a race plan, or giving you free information like this. We're here to make sure that you have the best possible race. After all, you've done all the hard work and you deserve it. Thanks for tuning in. Coach Patrick signing off. I'll see you online or at the races.